June 21st meeting of the High Springs Community Redevelopment Agency to order. I've asked Pastor Hull to give us our invocation, and then we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Father God, tonight as we stand in this place, we recognize our need to express thankfulness for your blessings, for your provision, for the opportunity to develop and to administer that which you have provided for us. May that ministry succeed in making our community brighter and more encouraging and more of a blessing to all who enjoy it. And Heavenly Father, tonight, may you give us wisdom. May your knowledge and your grace abound in such a way that we should leave this place recognizing that your hand has guided us in all of our decisions.
Yes.
In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jenny, can you do roll call?
Chair Lavin?
Yes, here.
Vice Chair James?
Here.
Member Williams?
Here.
Member Davidson? And Member
Okay. Can I get approval of the agenda for tonight's meeting?
All right, I'll make a motion that the agenda be approved as printed.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. The approval of the minutes from the May 24th, 2018 minute. Anybody want to?
Madam Chairman, I make a motion that the minutes from May 24, 2018.
I think I said the wrong date. Thank you. May 24th meeting.
I got May 24, 2018 be approved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so moved. Okay, business items. The first thing that Christina has on here for us is to set a date for a workshop for grant application parameters, and then also implementation of the Douglas Neighborhood Advisory Board. So I'll let her speak to us about those.
Yeah, one thing I've noticed since beginning here 2 months ago was that we have a grant policy that's somewhat ambiguous. And as far as our, now that we're going to be working on developing our plan, it's a good time for us to set our objectives, to say, what are our primary goals for our plan and for our CRA. And then from that, when we're developing our grant policies further, we can set very specific criteria. That way, when items come up, there's been some discussion, should we cover that, or should we not? And this way here, there would be a very clear directive of, guidelines for us which to follow. It's also possible I could do like a staff report or recommendations based on those criteria to kind of help facilitate that process and streamline some of the applications that we're receiving in the office. And so with that, this grant workshop, due to the level of complexity, I think would be very helpful for us, the way we can focus on that and kind of go through and say, these really are our goals, and this is really what, and it can change over time, if there are, rehabilitation or, maybe, other areas that we want to do later on, we can change that to suit our needs. But I think at this time we have something very general and broad. And since we have so many things that we want to accomplish, it might be a good time to have that conversation to make sure that we're directing our funds in a manner which is, going to further, expedite that process to achieve our goals.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Williams, do you have any? Questions?
So I guess we have some kind of meeting on that to sit down.
Yeah, we've had some discussion about, should we, set the limit at, cap it at a certain amount? Should we leave it open? And there's just a lot of variables, and I think, first we kind of need to set that, the goals and objectives for now, until we get our new plan in place. and then come back and say, okay, these are the drivers that are going to get us there. Like, this is one tool in our toolbox to achieve that goal, and just to make sure they're all in sync and that, we're going forward in a way that's best directed towards achieving those needs.
But I think part of the problem is in talking to the county manager, who was the attorney when they were doing it, she really feels that a facade grant is a facade grant. And if we want to go outside the boundaries, we better identify what we're doing. Otherwise, they really feel that they had approved this just doing facade. And so if you want to do something else, you need to put that in the plan, do a report, and then run it by them so they can bless it, because God bless the county, they need to be involved in it. They feel they need to be involved, but truly they do have a stream on our CRA. They don't have it with Gainesville or anyone else, but ours they seem to have a stream. That's my take of just talking to one person who was the county. He is a county manager, I'm sorry, he is, but doesn't want to continue.
Do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think that I agree with everything that Christina said. I think you guys have your facade grant program, commercial and residential. I think you then also have your nonprofit grant application, and I think that she is completely right. We've run into situations as of late and even before where there was some questions about what is the intent of this program, and do these grant applications meet the intent? So I think that it's in everyone's best interest. This board, city staff, CRA staff, and future applicants can look and say, this is the exact criteria, that these are the items that they're looking for, these are the items that you can do. And so I think having that out in a workshop is going to make everything run smoothly and allow your CRA staff to focus on some of the other projects that I know that you want them to work on. So I think that's a great idea, and I think would be my recommendation that we kind of put a moratorium on any grants now until we have this workshop, and that you all are on the same page with exactly what our intent is, and then what that specific criteria is.
We can get a lot of information from Gainesville, because they seem to have a pipeline into the county, and they like the way they do things. Therefore, we can look at what they're doing.
And they're very specific. Their applications for grants are extremely specific and detailed, way more than, like they even have paint partners and specific, they're really very detailed.
And you guys have honestly, you've had some changes to your budget this year. I know you were already looking to scale back some of these grants, and we've had some projects, that unfortunately we weren't able to do with different things, and so you've had some restructuring. So I think going ahead and giving Christina this information now and this guidance will help her figure out what other projects she can bring to you, what's realistic. But she won't know that until you kind of set some limits on how many of the grants and then per grant what you're doing.
Okay. And that sounds good, because I think on the last meeting, we went for sure about residential. So, but we had a workshop, and we can work all that and say what we can do it, and this is something out to get there.
Sounds good. Perhaps we can get a copy of Gainesville's.
I'll make sure you get one.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody from the public like to comment on this? Okay.
Okay.
So do we want to make a motion, I guess, and set a date? Do you have a date you're thinking for the workshop, Christina?
I'm okay. We have those, would be the 5th and the 19th would be the available, and, dates in, when we don't have a city commission meeting.
In July.
Yeah.
Okay.
July
So,
5th or 19th.
mhm,
And I can't read my calendar.
here. Well, I know you don't have your
Yeah,
book, but
I
I
have
can
my
show you
book.
what the calendar looks like, so.
Yeah, mine. I'll go with whatever you come up with. I guess.
Here.
So would the 5th be enough time?
The 5th would be fine,
And is that, if it's a workshop, then is it set up like this as a public meeting, and if it's a workshop?
So if it's a workshop, it's set up very similar to this, unless you wanted a more informal, we've done that around kind of a, what do you call those tables?
Round table.
Yeah, or, the card table things. With workshops, though, you cannot vote.
Okay.
So, if you anticipate wanting to vote that night, then we can just make it a CRA meeting where this is the only agenda item, so we don't pull focus. Or if you want to make it a more informal workshop, you could do that, and then at the next CRA meeting, you could vote.
What allows the public to talk more, be able to interact with the council.
Right.
For the CRA.
So is your recommendation a workshop then, to make it a workshop or a meeting?
That would be my recommendation.
Okay.
So that we could get the input from those people that qualify for grants, what they think. You will have the Gainesville grant application, their policies in that on grants.
Okay.
And staff could probably leave a pretty good idea of where you're headed with that, and then can work to put together a checklist, or however Christina would want to proceed, and then she could put that on the next agenda for you to formally
Adopt
take
it.
that vote.
Okay. Okay, so workshop, and then we would bring it to the next CRA meeting for formal approval and adoption. Okay.
So you need a motion for the workshop for July 5th? Everybody agree with July 5th?
I'm good with that.
Okay, well, in that case, I will make a motion that we have our grant workshop application scheduled for July 5th,
And that'll be at 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
4th is a holiday,
Right,
in the middle of the week.
July 5th at 6 p.m.
Is there a second?
Yeah, second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No? Okay. It's real easy when there's only 3 of us.
We'll tell the mayor you said that.
That works pretty good. Okay, then the other part of that item 1 was implementation of the Douglas Neighborhood Advisory Board, and I'll go back to Christina.
And I have the list that you all, since we're going to that too, we can go ahead and read
She
it.
gave us one.
Okay.
Jenny gave it to us.
All right. Yeah, so at this time, we could read them in and invite them to the workshop, and have them sworn in that time.
Is that what you want to do? Okay. Do you want to read the names, or?
Raymond Lee, John Durr, Raymond Mobley, Ronald Wilson, Yvonne Andrews, Elder James, J.R. Reed, Patricia Dixon, and Jessica Hall.
Now, are we utilizing all 9 of these members?
We can have, I believe it's 5 to 9 members, and so, hopefully,
So what do you
we
guys
still have to
think?
ask, that they still are interested and whatnot, but yeah, that's certainly.
I think it's a great idea to invite them to the workshop. I think for swearing in, we should do that at the next
CRA meeting.
CRA meeting. So they
Okay.
can come and absolutely, we set up a table, sit at the, have their seat at the table and participate in that, and then we'll just do the actual kind of formal swearing in at our next CRA meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, and if it would be, we also, with that too, our budget is coming up too, so it might be a good time. I don't know if we want to have 2 in July, but it might be helpful, that way we can discuss that.
Do you want to set up a secondary meeting on that other date?
That's what I was thinking.
So that we can do this piece first and then, and be prepared to move into the second piece?
Yeah.
And then if we can't get enough for a quorum or something, then we can figure out Plan B. Should we go ahead and explore that option? Okay, so,
Yeah, I like the idea too of working them both on the same day if we can.
right, so that would take us to the 19th, correct? That's the other available date in July. So, does that work with your schedule? If we did this, a CRA meeting on the 19th of July?
Maybe me or
Both of you.
Oh, yeah, I'm
my Thursdays are your Thursdays.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we want to make sure you're invited to come. We need you here. So, in that case, do we have a motion about having another CRA meeting on the 19th?
So
Okay.
moved.
All right, wait a minute.
So have another meeting on July the 19th.
Yeah, but I thought you said earlier, do a contingency after the one on the 5th later. Did I
Oh.
misunderstand?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't even think of that. Do you want to do a meeting after the one on the 5th, she said, to do a formal meeting after the workshop? So you didn't have to come back on the 19th. I didn't even think about that.
We could, I mean, it's certainly possible. It might kind of truncate one of the meetings, but, I mean, that certainly would be fine with me. Whatever. But in that case, then, yeah, I mean, I guess we would just swear in.
I thought that's what I understood, but I don't want to cut anybody short.
Yeah.
If you think it's gonna compact the first meeting, then let's don't go that way. But we can go to the 19th and leave it. That's just what I thought I heard.
Yeah.
Also, Madam Chair, if, depending on the feedback that you give on the 5th as to what the limitations are on the grant, that might affect the budget numbers, if you're gonna be talking about the budget right after that.
And then
Just
she
give
needs
Christine
time.
an opportunity to,
Right.
Yeah.
play with the budget a
Right.
bit and see what she's got to work with.
And she needs time to prepare the actual guidelines for us to approve, correct? I mean, we want her to bring them back to us in a format that we can say, yes, we're going to approve this. So it's probably better if we do it 2 weeks later, so you have the time to prepare those documents.
Okay.
Does that
If that's
sound
the
fair
best route.
to you? Does that give you enough time?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I made the motion, I gave him on the second.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No? Okay, so we'll move on.
We're gonna be at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, good?
Yeah.
On July 19th?
Okay.
So on the 19th, you say you're gonna swear these people in. So now they fall up under the sunshine law too, right?
Yes, sir.
So will you be able to explain that to them? Because some
Well,
of the people,
actually, I'm gonna take that back. Yes, I'll do it. Yes, and yes, I could do a, if they wanted to come a little early, we could, maybe 30 minutes early, I could do a quick. Yeah, Jenny could send it out ahead of time to them, and then I could just come early and answer any questions and do a quick presentation.
So they're prepared before you swear them in, so they've been prepared.
They will become cold with it.
yeah.
So we wouldn't want to start the meeting at 5:30, we just would want to start the meeting at 6, but have the workshop for the sunshine between 5:30 and 6. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that would-
Do we need to make a motion on that?
we'll
Okay.
take care of that on the staff
Okay.
level, get them to come.
Okay.
Yeah, because I see several people here never served on boards, but they would know
Okay.
about the sunshine law. You know, nobody gets
And if
into it.
that's not enough time when we get to it, then we'll schedule, time, before like their first advisory board meeting or something
Yeah.
like that. We'll make sure that they get the training that they need, but at least they'll get a quick overview that night, so they won't feel like we threw them into the lines.
Thank you.
All right. So that is taken care of. Item number 2 is to consider grant applications. And I will defer to Christina. We have 2 applications here. You did say something as we were discussing this about putting a moratorium on them until we had better clarity, so I'm going to defer
Yes,
to you.
Madam Chair, it just seems to me that if we're having this workshop so quickly on July 5th and you're about to set parameters in place, potentially change dollar amounts and what you're looking for, to me, it makes sense not to consider any pending applications right now until after this board has had an opportunity to review and provide staff with direction on moving forward with grant applications. And that way the consistency is going to be the same for all applications.
Okay. Sure, just a minute and I'll ask for public comment. Actually, come up now and you can tell us your name and you can talk. Sure. Please say your name and where you live so she gets it in the record.
Jody. I live in Alachua, but my business is in High Springs. Can you tell them how long I've been working on this process? To have to wait another, it doesn't seem like a long time for July 5th, but I started this process in February, so it's been a very long time. I have to sandbag the back of my business every time we get a rain, and I recently had to replace the whole flooring in the back of the building because the water it just confines underneath the building, and it has warped the natural wood floors and all of the flooring in the back of my shop. I had to get everything. They tore it down to the trusses, or not the trusses,
I know what you mean.
pillars, and so I've already done that. So now I'm trying to still, because I've been doing this application thing for a while, because I did everything and gave it to Misty over 2 months ago, and I don't know what her employment thing is right now, but she's not with the code enforcement anymore, and all of my stuff had been delayed from that, and I don't feel like it's my fault that I have to keep waiting on something, that I had already prepared and given her everything that I needed to give her already back in February. And when I know the weather, I don't do anything. I have to make sure I'm up in High Springs to be able to make sure the water's not going to come in through the back of my building.
What is the name of your business?
Jody's Beauty and Barber Shop. I've been there for 28 years, made all kinds of improvements, but I can't, where the back of my shop is, it's what they say an access road or something, and I've done everything I could so far. A few years back, when I still had the awning, the one that was probably 80 years old, it came down through a storm, and from that point on, I've been having water issues, and I need to get an awning put up there so every time it rains, I don't have to be up there sandbagging the inside and outside of my shop and risking it ruining the $8,000 floor I just had to put in. So that was my only thing with this moratorium thing and everything. I know it doesn't seem like a long time away, but it is long when you've been dealing with it this long. And like I said, I did my part, and somewhere along the line, it got dropped on someone else's part, and I just didn't feel like I should have to suffer for that. That's it.
Okay, thank you.
On Monday, I'll take public works and take a look at how we can shore up to keep that flooding.
Yeah, it's the sandbags, but I have to put the sandbags there when it rains, and then I have to get people to come and take the sandbags back up because we use that door to come in and out, and I can't have elderly people walking over sandbags. That's what we're doing.
And Madam Chair, this is certainly the decision of the board if you want to move forward with the grants. I will say that this is one of the discussions that of a similar project that we would want to include on the workshop in terms of defining what this board means by sod. Does that include the backs of property? Does that include the sides of property? Does it include the front of property? And ultimately that's a determination for this board what that means to you, but that's one of the things that I think staff is looking for you to help further.
And the reality is the county has asked us to get better guidelines on those issues, so it's not just, our board, but it's going to play into our extension with the CRA, right? Okay.
Right. And that's, like I said, there's always discretion in what you do, but the best practice is to be consistent with that discretion, and without those guidelines, it's very difficult to do. And as I'm sure you guys know, boards change, commissions change, and so without those firm guidelines in place, it's hard to offer.
Please come to the podium and state your name and where you live for the record.
My name is John Josie. I'm with the High Springs Presbyterian Church, and I would welcome probably waiting until you had your workshop and got clear-cut goals, because we started our project before the first of the year. We talked with the then current director. She gave us guidance. For example, she told us we needed 2 quotes for our project and not to worry because all the grants were awarded like May, June, and that if I started pulling quotes March, April, we would be in great shape. I since talked to the new director, and she said I needed 4 quotes and that we would probably not be available, there would not be any funding available for us. There's only like $4,400 in the account, and so I would be glad to wait until after the workshop so you people can get some clear-cut definitions. Like our application, the nonprofit application, is over 10 years old. It's not a PDF file. You can't type on it. You can't type on your computer on it. You either have to fill it out by hand or complete it with a typewriter. How many people have typewriters? So I would welcome that, but I would also like, if things go, I guess, our way, we'd like not to be bumped in the order of consideration. And we'd also like for you maybe to work with us and let us know what's going on. July 5th is a horrible time to have a workshop, because a lot of people take that week off, 4th and the 5th and the 6th into the weekend. So we would just like to have more communication. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any more public comment? Commissioners?
Where's your building located, Joe? Where's this located at?
Oh, maybe.
Right down next to where
Next
Sheffield's.
to where the cleaners
Where
used to be.
Sheffield's, yeah.
Where the cleaners used to be.
Sheffield's the cleaner, it's a bike shop.
Yes, next door.
I haven't seen it. That's a meeting time. So they're not on the corner right here.
They're right over here on First, on Main Street. They're on Main.
Main Street, but it's not on the corner. You know where the bike shop is.
Yeah.
Just to this way.
Where the karate shop and all that?
Yeah.
It's right there next to the
Right
karate
there.
shop.
Right.
Right next to the karate shop.
It's right next door to the building that used to be the
But they all
cleaners.
have
Yeah.
awnings, and that's why all the water comes
So,
to my property.
but just the rear you're speaking about.
Yeah, the real.
That's what I'm looking at, the rear here.
Yes, that's a picture of the rear.
And so that's what I'm confused about. When I say a facade,
On the real.
I'm thinking the front. That's when, they're beautifying the front. That's what I'm thinking when I see a facade. So we ain't clear what we should and should not do. And that's the only thing holding me up.
Well, that's why I never applied for it before, because I was always told it had to be.
Please come up to the podium and speak so that we can have it in our recording.
That's why I had never applied for one before, because I was always under the assumption it had to be the front of your building. And then when all this started, I was told that it could very well be used for the back also. And that is why I actually started this process. Because it's, I had the understanding of a simple awning. I had no idea that awning was going to be as much as a roof on a house, and it is. Like I said, I had the overflow from everyone because my awning came down, and there's nowhere for the water to go. And it's a problem, and that's the only reason I did it, is because I was told by code enforcement and by Misty that I should go ahead and do this. Like I said, I've been waiting since February because I was just going to have to get a loan and do it myself. And I was told that this would be a good opportunity for me as long as I've been in High Springs. I've had this business for 28 years. They told me to apply for it and see what would happen. So.
How long is the awning been
Probably for at least 7 years. But see, I didn't know about the under the building, the water settling thing until it started warping the hardwood floors and everything. So.
That's what we're talking about, the moratorium, that's what we're speaking of?
Right, that's what we,
And I probably, not a formal moratorium, you could just table these current grant applications and not claim any more before you, until after.
That sounds better. That sounds so. Do that.
Mayor Jameson, do you have any?
No, no, I have no issue with that. My viewpoint of CRA, which I'll probably mention when we get to the next thing, is different than probably a lot. So, I don't think this is what it's intended to do. I understand it. I don't fault it. That's what she was told. Please don't take my comments the wrong way. I get my hair cut there. I have. So that's not the deal. But I don't think it's our job to repair buildings. I don't think it's the CRA's job to repair roofs. That's your job. Nobody's going to come to my house and do it. But I have a problem with the facade thing. I get it. It's on the deal.
Mm-hmm.
So, my perspective is probably a little bit different than you all. And this one here is I don't think this is a let's hand out money type of deal. So I think we need parameters so this doesn't happen again, where there's some information. Maybe it'll fly. I'm not saying it, please don't take it that way. But I do think there needs some hard and fast, because I don't think it should be up to this commission's perception now, and if the board changes next time, their opinion is different. There needs to be consistency and parameters laid out very specifically, so somebody isn't either misled by the thing. So I would rather table it. Let's get the deal. I know she's waited. It's been 7 years. We're getting into the rainy season. I know. I know. But this would have ramifications for going forward. You give it now, why can't you give it to me later? The next person who comes in. So I think we need to have something very specific laid out as to what can qualify. And then stay out of these type of predicaments where people are giving somewhat of a false expectation. So I would be for, let's table it, let's have the workshop, and let's make darn sure we've got the standards that we're going to do. If they don't meet it, then you say I'm sorry, and that's it. They know going in.
Mm-hmm. So I guess we need a motion to
Make a motion to table.
Motion.
Right, I'll make a motion to table.
Okay.
Second.
Okay,
I
we
feel
have,
bad. I apologize, but I don't want to make a rash decision and something happen, and we're right back here again, and then somebody else come before us. We need to figure it out.
thank you. So we have a motion and we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? No, the motion carries. We'll table that until we have clear guidelines in place for you. And then would you bring them back to us at that time, please? Okay. All right. The next item on the agenda is consider approval of a consultant for the finding of necessity. Yeah, and that over to Christina.
Yeah, prior we spoke about it briefly, and there was some discussion before about should we wait to the advisory board, and it's certainly possible that they would be bringing you a recommendation. It's something that due to the nature of the Slum and Blight Fund, it's often a good idea to have a consultant to do that, to do the analysis and the inventory and make those findings.
And there's money in the budget to cover that we can, move forward with that in this year's budget and won't strain your resources.
And we're also waiting to hear about the DEO. I've heard usually the last week of June. I tried to call today to find out, but I've heard it's usually the last week of June.
Okay. Any public comment on that? It's a finding of necessity, consultant to do that for our Douglas CRA extension that we're trying to get as part of the extension, the renewal of the CRA. Okay. Commissioners? Anybody have any comment on that?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure this out as to why we're doing this. I understand the need for it. But what I heard at the meeting last time was the people there wanted the 8 or 9 lots cleaned. Well, that's the city's responsibility. We own them. I don't think a CRA should be developed to clean 9 lots. They're ours. Put the money in the budget and maintenance. And I know. I mean, I'm trying to figure out the reason because I'm assuming there's other blighted areas in the city. Are we going to extend the CRA to take in those other blighted areas? If you can set up the boundaries, subsections, because if I'm a business in this district here, and then all of a sudden the money's being filtered over. If you could set up the boundaries to where here's the boundaries for the Douglas subsection, here's the boundaries for the downtown subsection, raise the money within that district and then spend the money raised within that sub-district, then I would be okay with it. But to make it the entirety of it, I don't know if I was a downtown business how happy I would be. Maintaining your home is the homeowner's responsibility. Maintaining those lots is our responsibility, and we need to make sure we're doing it, but we also need to make darn sure we're cleaning whatever other lots around the city, if we own them. So I think I understand, and Christina spoke to me, and I asked her, and I get it, but I'm just trying to figure this thing out as to, we're going to develop this whole CRA to extend it. What if the people on the street right across where we draw the boundary, why aren't I in it? Why did you draw it there? Why don't you extend it 2 more streets over? I think we open up a Pandora's box, because if I'm over here and I'm in an area, a blighted area, then we extend it to the west of the city. I don't think that's what a CRA is. To me, a CRA, at least, and I'm going to talk from the deal, to me a CRA, I always thought it was downtown area where the industry was, where you built that up, and that's the hub where people came. It wasn't residential. That's me. I could be wrong. So probably tell me I'm wrong. That's my interpretation of it. I don't think we're there to go over and be landlords to people. Once again, I don't want anybody to make sure they're not taking this the wrong way. It is our responsibility to clean those lots. We own them, and we're going to do it. Beyond that, I just don't know. I'm concerned about the money generated here going over. So if we could designate the boundaries, take the money that is generated within each area, spent in that area, then I would be okay. Then if you did one on the west side, it'd be the same thing. The money generated within that area is used to prosper that area. then I would be okay with that.
And pick back what he's saying. I understand what you're saying, and that's my thought too. But when I was thinking about CRA district in that area, I wasn't thinking about extending this district into that area. I was thinking about creating its own CRA district where all the funds that come in that community stays in that community instead of that some of the money comes from this community go to that community money comes to this community. I always thought we were talking about CRA district. When we was talking about it years ago, it wasn't my thought of extending the CRA district. I was thinking we were going to create a CRA district in that area. That was my thought. I agree with you, but I don't think it's fair for us to take money from downtown and take it put over in that community.
Let me what is involved with doing just a separate?
Yeah.
I mean, does that involve a much more complicated process?
No, it's not complicated, but the thing that I would caution on would be that, I mean, it's quite possible, once we set this, that could be where the majority of the money is coming. If we had lots, and we had Gainesville Housing Authority, a community land trust, the private developer come in, it's possible we could collect more money from that area. I mean, our pot is bigger in the CRA here because it's been in existence a long time. But, you know, as far as capturing that initial impact of new development, that could be a greater generator than the downtown on a per year basis. I mean, like, you know, just initially to capture that increment right off the bat. So it wouldn't necessarily, I think the thing that it helps is that, you know, if we need to do a study, the CRA I managed in Lake County, Mount Plymouth Sorrento, it was relatively new, and because of, you know, the period of time and whatnot, you know, that at the time I think it was only $40,000, and that's very slowly accumulating, and so I don't, you know, it certainly wouldn't have to be structured in such a way that, you know, like even here in our downtown area, the money in the past was used somewhat slowly, and it doesn't, you know, this is would all come before you. It's not necessarily, I think we're looking at it in a way that instead of seeing it as the increment of capturing the development to setting things in the path to help encourage growth, you're leveraging CRA funds to make things happen. We're not spending them to create it. We're just putting enough in so it can do what, you know, ideally it should be doing. You know, whether that be, you know, better lighting, sidewalks, you know, little things like that can make a huge difference. So, you know, I don't think it's the intent, you know, we certainly don't have the staff released to become landlords. We don't have a housing authority. We're not a large city. But we could partner and maybe donate or have, you know, land leases with other entities that would do those sorts of things.
So, and that's perfect. And I know that's what you talked to me about. So what if we have a neighborhood over here and they want it? We just did this neighborhood. What about us?
So, I mean, Gainesville has a number of CRAs.
No, I'm just saying. So I'm saying that to me that would be the natural flow. All of a sudden now, I'm just, and you and I talk. I struggle with that, just from a philosophical. This is just me individually. I struggle with that. I mean, I know government is there to help, but I struggle with the fact that we're going to go in and do that. I mean, I bought my house, I repair it, I take care of it, I don't do it. I get it, and I'm not trying to come across as Grinch.
And I think this is where these grant policies come in place, because it's not like we're going to have grants that are going to do these things necessarily in that area. So you would have it set up to, like, you know, say we had a number of projects we wanted to achieve. It would be prioritized. Later on, we certainly could create different separate districts if that would be the desire, but I think the good idea to kind of have the, like the parent, like, you know, kind of have that bigger entity kind of help getting established, because that first year, I mean, basically, if we set it up separately, we would have nothing until the first year, and the increment might be really, really small. And so, like, if we were to do a study, we might have to wait till year 3, whereas right now, we could do a study, have the development occur in year 1 or year 2, and capture all of that. So, yeah.
So if you do that, follow my logic. If you do that, the only thing that the people here are talking about is they wanted the lots cleaned. That's all they wanted the lots cleaned because they're atrocious. Okay, let's do that. but we're not gonna clean them for 3 years because there won't be enough money in the CRA generated to pay for it. No. I'm being hypothetical.
Yeah, okay,
I'm being hypothetical.
okay.
But if you're going to link it solely, the maintenance to the CRA, there won't be enough money generated to pay for the lots. I'm saying, to me, you can't link the cleaning of the lots with the CRA. That's what I gathered from the meeting. The people that were here, they wanted those lights cleaned.
Okay. I know that kept coming up, that area redeveloped.
Okay, then that's.
Not just clean up the lots. They want to see homes over there. They possibly put businesses over there.
Okay.
They want to redevelop that
Okay.
neighborhood. Now, it's more to just, am I correct? Clean the lots.
Okay.
And that's what we've been
I
talking
stand
to.
corrected.
That's why we've been talking to the housing development game, but for them, 'cause I don't want trying to extend the CRA district to stop us from redeveloping that community. You see what I'm saying? You know, if we just put houses, we put houses. But if we can't get it, the CRA extended, don't let that stop us from redeveloping that community. See what I'm saying? You know,
That's what I said with the lots and so forth.
Yeah.
We should not be dependent upon the CRA. We should do the right thing regardless, as a city. The CRA, I guess what I'm hearing here is, and I don't know, maybe this is where I get it, is the CRA opens up a lot more avenues.
It does. It does.
even with extending it, that still will be open more avenues for that community to be redeveloped.
And Mr. Booth was the one that made the suggestion of an extension versus a separate district because he felt we would get better traction in trying to do that than to go to them and ask for a whole nother district. He felt in his expertise that it was better for us to go this route.
Also, in about 2 years, we're going to get about a quarter of that whole area belonging to 51 lots out there. About 100. We'll have to look at the budget, really. Many of those lots that need to be cleaned up are those lots that come to us. Once we own that much of that Douglas area, and we can really redevelop. Part of the problem now is, like the 51 lots, they're in heirs property, or they're hard to get a hold of. But when they come to us in a large lot, then they will be able to do something and have some vision. And they did that at one time. I mean, in 2009 and 10, they created the PUD. But it was so poorly done, the state wouldn't take it. But that's what they were trying to do, is get a hold of a large portion of that property and do something with it. So it opens up in a couple of years for us to be able to do so without even the CRA money. But certainly their money to go clean it up.
So the city can absolutely, without a CRA, and should clean up the city's lots. And that's Mr. Booth's already, he's on it. Might go out there himself. The CRA provides you some opportunity to do some of the things that Christina is explaining that might not be possible with city funds, with some of the partnerships and things like that would be explored. But the cleaning of the lots, things like that, that's absolutely the city's purview. The city actually would be taking care of that anyway. That would be the big project she's talking about, the redevelopment. There's some things the city can do without a CRA that would help revitalize redevelopment. But there's some things, your hands would be tied, that you couldn't do that the CRA statute could decide.
The county seems very supportive, and, this is, especially from an affordable housing standpoint, it's usually such a hot topic in so many areas because there's usually that missing piece. The nice thing about the CRA is that we're able to capture that and to help expand that and partner with some of these other entities. And so if we did have a CRA in place, and true, the city could still maybe, donate lots or do other things, but if it's, a matter of providing certain forms of infrastructure or any type of improvements, even that little tiny bit can be a big difference between what's happening.
And once those lots are built on, then they create and generate the revenue that can then be captured into that ongoing funding of the CRA.
As a city, we're trying to keep that from continually going downhill. We're doing so by not allowing any trailers. When you have your meeting, I'll bring Bruce. I'll have Bruce come to that meeting about burning down some of the houses. I'll have Bill at that meeting condemning those houses so that Bruce can burn them down. I think once they...
You look behind you.
I'm sorry, to the fire chief. We call each other by the first name. And so, we are trying to be proactive for that community not to go downhill anymore. There is, and truly, trailers isn't allowed. There are a number of people that like to bring them in. So we're trying to keep it status quo, and then we can build up. It's not an easy thing. Many communities have tried it. But, even Detroit is fairly successful.
So what I'm hearing you saying that, understanding that it'll be a much easier process.
I don't think necessarily it's going to be an easier process, but I think it's going to be more beneficial for the entire CRA in that you'll have the opportunity to capture that initial impact as development occurs, and kind of have that as like a parent to another, and that down the road, if there would be the desire to do two separate CRAs, it's certainly possible that could happen. But I think from the way it is right now, like just to get things started and to have that, then we have even just from doing this study or getting these things in place, those things will start to take up as we're identifying. Because right now, if there was no CRA, we wouldn't be talking projects, we wouldn't have goals and objectives, and that process would probably be much slower. So I think it's beneficial overall.
Where's the process?
And so can I hand these out? I have to
Yes,
go
ma'am.
lock the civic center.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm against the time limit. This is information about the horticulture trip that's coming up, and it's the last thing on the
Okay.
agenda.
Thank you.
Still on.
Yes. And that's.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm sorry I have to go.
Don't
Too many
run.
hats.
Don't run, walk, please. Run. See?
Pardon?
Don't run, walk.
Famous last word. Sorry.
Is there any public comment on the issue of this approval of a consultant? No. Do we have a motion? Further discussion, a motion?
I know I did not. Hold on a second. You do the consultant, you spend the money. What's the consultant going, what's the consultant's report going to do?
It outlines the level of study that we can and the process to establish this.
I know, I was thinking. And I'm very positive. If once we start working on this community, and once we start building, I believe other contractors going to want to come in and start. I really do believe that's going to be a thriving neighborhood. again, because once people see that they can start building over there, Mr. Booth, I just believe that others are gonna want to try to build. Even people that even own their personal lots in that neighborhood gonna want to start building in that area. I feel positive about it. I really do. It all depends on how we plan it. Like Mr. Booth said earlier about the other group. They were just fishing, I guess. I don't know what they were doing. But that PUD they call themselves doing?
Yeah, it sounded good.
Yeah, it sounded good, but it was with commercial property and homes and some other stuff that we didn't agree with. But
And I think having lots of different partners will really help too.
Yeah.
From NHDC and GHA, and there's a lot of interest in the area, and I think that's much different than a private interest.
And I can say that stemming not only from that area, I know some of y'all are aware, but even that area butts up to 174 All Palm Avenue. And there's plenty of property. I'm talking about 50 acres, 12 acres.
Right.
There's a possibility sooner or later that probably would stem from that area, even stem out to 174, but they butt up together. Just so much potential. And when I'm saying that, so much potential because the area is so large. It's just such a large area to work with. And that's going to help us get there faster. I don't use the word faster, but make the process easier. Yes. That's good.
Sound like it'll give us some additional opportunities that we wouldn't have otherwise, from what I'm hearing.
Yeah, unless you told us something different, but the solar company over there on Timber's Acre, did that ever?
Yeah, and they still have the property, they're still coming in. They were looking at 2019, and Brender is the attorney for that business. He paid for his full income.
And so if the developers will come in and want to help develop that neighborhood, could they tie into that project too? That sold into the
No, I really think that is going to tie into the electric grid.
Right, that's what but can that grid be also, so that's going to give people power to run the house, am I correct?
Well, yeah. Somewhere it's going to blend in, as most of those projects do. So it's hard to tell if you're getting a coal-generated power or from the solar panels or whatever. It all blends in, so you would certainly get part of it. Now, with that company as part of the project help develop, we could sure ask them. We might push them sometimes, because it's a large corporation might be willing to do a philanthropic or project. I think our start is cleaning up the house, taking care of the abandoned houses. I mean, there's one next to Gloria that I have sworn I was going to take care of. And I'm still at my major project. I cannot leave without something happening to that house. Because it's great, can't even see it. Overgrown, and nobody has lived in there for 20, 30 years.
Timeline-wise, you had expressed to me that there was some urgency in getting the finding of necessity documentation so that you could begin having a conversation with the county commission somewhere about September instead of waiting until December when we were going up for the other. So that's why you're pushing for us to do this at this time.
So we can stay on track, yeah, because, once we have the advisory board in place and we get, say we start working on the plan, and, yeah, it's just a good idea to have their blessing at that midpoint, because going forward, we'd be ashamed to put in all that work in December and find out there was something maybe that they would have rather seen different. So, and when I met with Edgar, he mentioned that we could have a work session with the county commission at any time to let them know, what our goals and projects are. So as far as urgency, it's just it's something steady progress. I mean, it's not urgent. There is some urgency in that we need to stay on time. By the time we have the visioning and we have the public hearings and then we go before them, that time goes pretty quickly.
So we need a motion to approve the facade program.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve the facade of planning and necessity.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
That's, is there a set fee on that, or is that an up to dollar amount? Or what's the,
I spoke with GAI and it would be $15,000.
okay.
So should we amend that motion to,
Yes. Thanks. To include the fee.
should we
Oh, I'm
amend,
so sorry.
You just
should we
say up to
amend the motion?
15,000?
Yeah, well, yeah, I would just make it clear what it is that you're offering.
So that's the price that she told you?
Let me say something before we go there. Before we do that, I would amend it, just say up to 15,000, but let me just say this on the deal, just so that, I mentioned my personal thoughts and stuff like this and so forth. Let me try to maintain and be consistent since I've been up here for 6 years or whatever. Personal thoughts are irrelevant. What's best for the city is what I've always tried to do and always will do. And since I've been up here, I've always told everybody that I use the expertise of the professionals. I'm not a CRA person. I'm not an engineer, and so forth. So when the expert sits here and tells me that this is a positive step in order to bring about progress more expeditiously and efficiently, I would be going against what I've done for 6 years. So I will accede to the professionals, and because that's what I've done, and it's been fairly successful. Thank you.
Do you want to amend your motion so we have that, so Jenny can capture it?
Yes, amend it to up to 15,000.
We have to,
Not just say 15,000.
okay. So we have an amended motion on the floor, and you still second. So, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So we're going on the amended motion first?
Yeah, we need
No,
to.
you can just amend, since you were the original motion maker, you can amend it, and whoever was the original seconds the amendment.
Okay.
That's what we did.
Okay, so you got that, Jenny? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. The motion carries. Now, this amended agenda has approved budget amendment here. Is that something we're discussing tonight? Okay, because I have two agendas and one has it on and one doesn't, and I wasn't sure which one I was supposed to be using. I'm sorry. So that's not the next item on the report. The next item is the chair's report. Basically, we've covered everything tonight, the grant workshop for guidelines, so we'll have better clarity for Christina to move forward and make decisions. It'll make her job easier. And then this is a great list that you've gotten together of people that are interested in being on the board. So that's basically all I have. And then next item is Executive Director's Report and items A, B, C, D. Is that Christina or is that Mr. Booth?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I will be going tomorrow to Fort Lauderdale to dig a course. It's called Housing as a Redevelopment Tool. I think this would be very helpful. Things that we're trying to achieve. Also, Dr. Mona from the supportive housing presentation they had at the United Way this week. She actually lives in High Springs, and her and I will be meeting next week to talk about some other forms of housing. And so with that, and then also our downtown merchants meeting, we met with WUFT and Mr. Booth and I and the chamber president. We had the opportunity, Barbara Llewellyn, to meet with the Greater Gainesville guy, and maybe a future opportunity to do some really nice marketing for the whole Greater Gainesville region. And of course, First Fridays, we've got some exciting things coming up. We're looking at doing an expanded First Friday in October to perhaps showcase an open house of the building, and also the quilt murals, which is the brochure that Susie passed out. I had the opportunity to go with Susie to Trenton last Friday before last, and anyway, there's a whole network. It's of these quilt murals, as the one that we have on the old school. We have two that are waiting to be hung, one on Bennett's and another one downtown across from Hospice, and there are a few others I think folks are going to have made. And so this kind of gives us an opportunity not only to accentuate our downtown area, but to kind of tie in the history also of the new mural, and it would be really wonderful opportunity to have a walking tour. And we're hoping to have something like that in place by this first Friday in October, to kind of take folks around the area and talk about the history, and so we're really excited about that as well.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Any other discussion?
One thing I want to say is that picture on the wall over there, it's unique. That's all I can. No, I saw on the building out there, with the scuba diver with
the screens in the
It is so. I don't know.
It catch your eye. It does catch your eye as you're driving down there, and that was the intent, I think.
Yeah, but you got to look at it. You got to look at it.
You voted for it.
Yeah, I know. It's all I can say is unique. Yes.
And we will, once we dedicate it, we'll lead everybody from the CRA board out there in front of it. We'll take a picture. We'll have the newspaper take a picture. Leave the
And the Observer. And the Observer with Barbara.
Yes,
Bob would have to be there.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure out where I'm out, but we ain't gonna mess with that.
I don't think they're finished yet. I think there's a little bit work to hurdle.
It's unique.
Is there anything else that we need to discuss tonight, or can we make a motion to adjourn?
I make such a motion.
Okay, thank you.